One thing that I don't do enough on this channel is talk about myself. Who is Keith? Who is Crypto Bullseye? What is your background? Why did you get into cryptocurrency? And what is your 5 to 10 year goal? Why are you using cryptocurrency as a mechanism to try and change your future? I started cryptocurrency in 2020. I looked at Bitcoin in 2020. And my background is financial services. I've spent 20 years building portfolios, risk management, diversification. That's my bag. And outside of crypto, they call me one thing: Cautious Keith. So why the hell did I get into a volatile space that they call cryptocurrency, where you're going right from the bottom of the risk curve, right to the top of the risk curve as far as you can go with these digital assets? So I started looking at Bitcoin in 2020. In 2020, what was happening? Money was printing. What was happening? Our value of our currency was getting less and less and less. What did that mean? People that had savings didn't have as much spending power. That was because of inflation. That's where I first started understanding inflation. And that's where I started understanding deflation, which is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got the deflationary mechanism built in, which offsets any kind of inflation. That's why they call it a store of value, and that's why they call it a hedge against inflation. This is the first thing that piqued my interest. I understood the thing that I was saving within these portfolios that I've been building for 20 years are losing value and losing value and losing value. Now, if I'd have held that portfolio and put that into Bitcoin in the last 20 years, or the last 15 years, even since Bitcoin incepted, what would have happened? I'd probably be a multi billionaire by now. So, something wasn't right. This thing that I was saving within a portfolio was losing value over time. It wasn't increasing as far as monetary power is concerned. But then this one thing that people were putting a little bit of money in was increasing in value. And that's what piqued my interest. That's when I started trading early 2021 intensively, guys. One thing about me, I've got compulsive, obsessive traits. I've got ADHD. And when I start learning something, I don't stop. Every single day, I try and learn something. And I'm going to continue to do that every single day. Now, cryptocurrency, that was always the mechanism. It's high risk. It needs to be treated as high risk. But I understood that people were flowing into it. Transactional value was happening on chains. People were moving into these digital assets and they were using the networks for real time things, real world things like real world assets. Things like stocks are going to be put onto the blockchain, and things are going to start developing as far as crypto is concerned within the crypto space. So, what is my goal for the next 5 to 10 years? What do I see within my existing job that I think that can transition my future by looking at crypto as the mechanism to diversify into these assets that I think are going to perform during the next 5 to 10 years? What are these assets? I see it within my own job. I know exactly what it is. I can see it in front of me. It is going to be renewable energy. We are transitioning from fossil fuels into renewables, and we're doing it at a fast pace. I can see the contracts in front of me. I can see the grants in front of me. This thing is happening. Renewable energy. Think about that. Any companies that are going to be developing renewable energy, any companies that have got new technology, they're going to be doing well. What do they need? Raw materials. Raw materials, renewable energy. What is the next thing? What is the next big thing? Of course, it's going to be AI chips, semiconductors. All of these kind of things are going to need the raw materials to be able to create them. So you've got not just NVIDIA, that's too late, but what about the components that make up the chips that NVIDIA create? Just an example: a solar panel. You go to the most basic renewable energy, a solar panel. What's it got in it? It's got 20 grams of silver. What happens if they start putting loads of solar panels, and start putting farms everywhere? It's going to mean there's going to be a demand in silver. So if there's not enough supply, but then there's more demand, what does that do to the silver price? It increases the silver price. The next thing that I think that is going to be big going forward. Now, unfortunately, I do see this in front of me as well. And unfortunately, it is going to be military contracts. What's happening, guys? NATO, they've got to increase in the next 5 to 10 years to 5% of GDP. Now, the UK, they're about 2 to 2.5% of GDP. A lot of Europe are less than 2%. A lot of Europe are actually less than 1.5%. And you look at Ireland and they're about 0.4%. So to increase their GDP to 5%, what's that going to need? Military contracts. For military contracts, what are they going to be using? Of course, they're going to be using AI. If they're going to be using AI, what are they going to need? They're going to need the raw materials, exactly the same that goes in the AI chips, exactly the same that goes in the renewable contracts. The raw materials are going to be the things that's going to drive in the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, the narrative as far as macroeconomics are concerned. These are the three big things for me: renewables, military, and of course, AI chips. So you've heard it here first, guys. That is my plan for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's what I'm planning on developing, scaling out of my cryptocurrency portfolio and diversifying into lower risk assets. Those lower risk assets are the things that I think that's going to develop over the next 5 to 10 years, because ultimately my goal has been to ride a bull market when there's a bear market. Guys, does that sound stupid? At the end of a bull market, there's a bear market. Bitcoin crashes, altcoins crash hard, stock market crashes. Guess what? Things like commodities that are high in demand and low in supply, they start having a bull market. And that is the wave, that is the narrative, and that is what I'm trying to catch over the next 5 to 10 years. I could see it in front of me, guys. I could see these contracts, I can see these grants put in front of me, and I think that that's going to be the future.